Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Hearthstone often takes a bit of a whimsical, bit of a tongue-in-cheek approach to World of Warcraft lore, and perhaps one of the greatest signs of this is One Night in Karazhan Hearthstone Adventure. Join Medivh and Azeroth's elite for an unforgettable evening at his Tower of Karazhan. Save the party from total disaster and earn 45 cards unique to this adventure. Oh, this was a really fun take on Medivh on Karazhan. Medivh and Karazhan, you don't typically associate them with parties, with fun. Karazhan has been portrayed in World of Warcraft twice actually. It's a raid instance, the old home of Medivh, haunted by demons. Yeah, not a very fun place to be, demons and undead. Medivh, very serious, somber character, oftentimes. He was responsible for opening the Dark Portal and allowing orcs into Azeroth. Yeah, that sort of stuff. On the other hand, he also was the prophet during the Third War in the events of Warcraft 3, where he saved Azeroth at that point, but not really this party-going type. However, there's actually surprising connection between One Night in Karazhan and the actual World of Warcraft lore. It's not like there would be intricate descriptions of Medivh's parties, but in Chronicle Volume 2 we do have these couple of paragraphs. Medivh was not a friendly mentor, and none of these first would-be students stayed for longer than a day. He felt the darkness within him growing, and he thought his isolation was the cause. Morose understood. He had always disapproved of the way Egwene insisted on detaching herself from the world. He suggested that if Medivh could not trust the Kirin Tor or the Council of Tirisfal, he could invite people from surrounding regions for a banquet instead. Surely they would not have ulterior motives other than curiosity, and the company would do him good. Medivh allowed it. There was a great feast, and the guests were awed by the wonders of the enchanted tower. A grand time was had by all, and their happiness even lifted the Guardian's mood. In the years that followed, Karazhan would host many more galas. Nobles from around Stormwind would come to regard Medivh's parties as exclusive high society events. The Council of Tirisfal snuck a few agents into these festivities, but the Magi were thoroughly confused by what their spies reported. By all accounts, Medivh was using his power and prominence to live a shallow life of luxury. It was not what they had expected from the son of Egwene. So there you have it, One Night in Karazhan is real. Well, canonically real at least. It did happen. Although I suppose it didn't quite happen in the way portrayed in the adventure, because the adventure mixes in a lot of future events into this. But amidst all of that, there is a grain of truth as well. So if we look at the boss selection of One Night in Karazhan, clearly these are not part of that old timeline. Prince Malchezaar, for example, Prince Malchezaar was the ruling demon of Karazhan during the Burning Crusade era, the first time we visited Karazhan in World of Warcraft. So Malchezaar only settled in the tower much later, after Medivh had already perished. As for the enchanted silverware, and enchanted golems, and even enchanted chess pieces, yeah, these probably did exist in Karazhan already at that time. Although the chess event seems to be an event that is guarding Medivh's secrets, so that wouldn't be something that the guests would actually be playing. The opera event also seems canonical. Julianne, Big Bad Wolf, The Crone, yes, these shows apparently were indeed part of the parties. And as we arrive at the menagerie, the curator was indeed created by Medivh and did exist at this time.
Now you're ready to oversee the tower's protection in my absence.
Defense protocols activated.
I must remember to shut you down from time to time. Overuse might cause you to become erratic.
On the other hand, the Terrestrian Illhoof is much later demon addition to the tower. Netherspite is also a much more recent addition. Then there's also a couple of grim tales that were not really part of the parties, but they were part of the history of Medivh and Karazhan. The Shade of Aran, Nilas Aran, was Medivh's father, and his shade indeed did haunt Karazhan for many years. There was a sad story about this, because Nilas was tutoring Medivh in magic, but eventually as Medivh's latent powers awakened, they were so great that they accidentally killed Nilas, and also put Medivh in a coma for many years.
Enough of this weakness, boy! Contain your magic!
Too much power! Father, no!
Our friend lies just in here.
It breaks my heart to see him like this.
Another year of slumber. I wonder if Medivh will ever awaken.
But Medivh eventually woke up and recovered from that. Nightbane is another one of these tragic tales. Nightbane could not exist while the parties were ongoing because the creation of Nightbane coincides with the final party at Karazhan. The final party took place at a time where Medivh had already opened the Dark Portal and orcs were already getting into Azeroth. Egwene, Medivh's mother, and Arcanagos, a powerful blue dragon, discovered that Medivh had opened the Dark Portal and went to Karazhan to confront Medivh. The time they reached Karazhan, there was a party. Arcanagos and Egwene confronted Medivh, and there was a big fight. During the battle, Medivh managed to temporarily incapacitate Egwene and fought one-on-one against Arcanagos. And Medivh destroyed Arcanagos wholly, burned Arcanagos inside out. After that, the fight between Medivh and Egwene continued, and Egwene actually got the upper hand. The only thing Medivh could do was to drain the life of all the visitors, all the party guests. Hundreds of people died, and Medivh managed to drain enough power from them to best Egwene and force Egwene to flee. But Arcanagos was destroyed and died. Much later, the Kirin Tor asked various adventurers, that would be the player characters in World of Warcraft, to try to resurrect Arcanagos to find more things about Medivh, because Medivh had used some of his own essence in order to defeat the Blue Dragon. This resurrected undead dragon is called Nightbane, and it's one of the bosses that you fight against in Karazhan. But obviously Nightbane could not exist at the time of the parties, because Nightbane is only resurrected for the first time long after Medivh is already gone. So while Hearthstone has been very liberal in the choice of actual encounters in One Night in Karazhan, One Night in Karazhan actually does have quite a big connection to the Warcraft lore and to the era where Medivh was holding big galas, big festivities, the best parties within the Kingdom of Stormwind in Karazhan. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.